Minasan konnichiwa, Sunny desu. Hey everyone! So, it's been a minute. It's been more than a minute. It's been like an hour. Alright. But, I ain't even gonna make no excuses. I've been busy. Like, life is crazy right now. Life is good, but life is crazy. So, I'm making this video because I've been away for a while. And a lot of people, since I first started making videos, have always asked me, like, what's the process of working in Japan? So I've been here for a little over 2 years. I've had 4 jobs. So I'm going to explain as much as I can within like 10 minutes. It's going to be a pretty long video. Everything I can say about working in Japan, my own personal experience. Alright, you guys can take notes if you want. You can ask me questions in the comments down below later if you want, because I'm sure I'm not going to hit on everything. So yeah, 2015, when I first came to Japan, I was working in Atlanta, and I just decided, okay, hey, I only live once, let me go work abroad. I really like Japan. I like anime, and I like the language. Alright, so what I did was I researched some eikaiwas, like language schools, because to live in Japan, you need to have a work visa. You can't just come and, do your thing here. It's the same thing in the States. You need to get a green card, right? So not citizenship, but you need to get your work visa. And the easiest work visa to get here in Japan is either an instructor visa, or which is working at public schools, or a specialist in humanities, which is working at public schools. All right, private schools. So there's a difference between working in public schools and private schools, and I decided to work in private school because I don't like waking up early. Like, when you work in a public school, you're working a regular school shift, which means waking up early 5 days a week. You get off at 5 o'clock, which is nice, and you get the weekends off, which is nice. And the 2 big choices you can pick from back then were like Aeon and Interact. And a lot of you guys know I made some videos on both of them. I decided not to go with Interact because if you're working in a public school, there's a crap load of public schools around Japan, and there was no guarantee of where you were going to go. And I did not want to be in some kind of country, Hokkaido, up in the snow area. If you work in a private school, you're most likely going to be in the city because people are spending their own money, and people who have money for private lessons are rich people in rich cities. So I decided to go with Aeon, and that was my first year here. What you need to teach in Japan to get your work visa is basically 2 things. You need I should have made notes, but I'm just doing it off the top of my head. What you need is a degree. You need at least a 4-year undergraduate degree or a bachelor's degree in anything. It doesn't have to be teaching. It doesn't have to be language. It can be in astronomy for all they care. They just want to know that you're able to function at a higher level of education. Alright? The second thing you need, or a requirement for the most part, is that you're a native English speaker. So you need to have gone through first grade through 12th grade in an English speaking school. It doesn't have to be America, okay? It can be English speaking. There are a lot of people in the Philippines, like my friend, who went to English speaking school. Alright, so if you're not a native English speaker, that doesn't mean you're not going to be able to teach here. It just means you might have to do some other stuff to get a job. I don't know what you got to do, so you can ask me, but I'm probably not going to be able to answer you because I don't have any experience in that, okay? So there's a few other smaller requirements that you need. Take a picture, blah, blah, blah. And you apply online, and if they like you, if they say cool, they're going to sponsor your work visa to come to Japan and teach at their school. And that's what I did for Aeon. Alright, so I did that for the first year, and I worked in the second largest city in Japan, in Yokohama. I had a blast. Luckily, my school and my apartment and my coworkers and my managers were awesome. Alright, so a lot of people always ask me, like, oh, I don't know, I'm a really shy person, and I don't, there's 2 parts of it. One part of it is reality. Like, are you stuck at a crappy school? Are you stuck with crappy people? Are you a crappy person? that's the reality of it. Like, you know, you can't fix some of those things, but also it's your perspective. Like, say you don't get placed at the best school. Like, what are you bringing? Are you making it any better? Is your apartment like 30 minutes from the station? All right, buy a bike, do something to make the experience better. Don't just live in the like, oh, I didn't get the best place kind of thing. Make it what you want it, okay? And be open-minded. And you might have a little bit of culture shock, so before you come, I say study up as much as you can about Japan, all right? So I did that for the first year when I was here, and that was full-time, okay? You get paid your salary, you get signed up for health. When you're full-time here, you get salary pay. You're signed up for health care, into the Japanese healthcare system. You have to pay into pension, which is like Social Security. But if you don't stay for long, like 10 years, you can get it back when you go back to your original country. So, and for the most part, you're paying income tax. You're paying tax on how much money you make. You're getting like 4 things taken out of your check, for the most part. Then, when you're here for a year, they take this automatically out your check for you. So you don't have to worry about setting those things up for yourself, okay? Then, after my first year, I decided like I really wanted to study Japanese, and I didn't get to do as much that I wanted to do here because I was working a lot. So I decided to switch to part-time at the same company, all right? Which you can do under your visa as long as you're working the same, like a legit amount of hours and you're making a legit amount of money. So I decided to switch from full-time to part-time within Aeon, and I took 3 jobs. So I was working for 2 regular like branch schools, just teaching regular English like I was before, but fewer hours. So usually on a work day you need to work like 8 hours, but I made my own schedule, like, oh, okay, I'll work 4 hours this day and 2 hours this day, or 4 hours that day at 2 different schools. And then I was also working for Aeon Business, because Aeon Business has their own things, which you make contracts with like businesses or universities or companies around Japan in the Tokyo area. So I was doing that for about 6 months. The thing about that is when you switch to part-time, they don't cover your health care and they don't cover your pension. So you need to, and take care of your taxes, you need to enroll and go to City Hall and do all of that on your own, okay? So I did that for about 6 months. So that's a year and 6 months, okay? I did that. And then I decided like I'm tired of teaching English. Like, I enjoy talking to people, but I need to improve my Japanese, okay? So I decided to work for a Japanese company. I heard it was hell, I heard it was shit, but I was like, okay, I'll choose the right company. And I decided to work for this hotel called Trunk Hotel because it was kind of funky, you know, it was newer. If you look it up online, the hotel is nice. I ain't gonna lie, the hotel is swank and the company is swank, but it's still a Japanese company, and it's trying to hire younger people, open-minded people, but they still, in my opinion, they're still Japanese, and Japanese is a traditional country, so they have ways of working that I just wasn't about. They work you hard, long, there's expectations of you, and I just wasn't about that life. So I didn't last long, about 3 months, and I was like, I gotta get the hell out of here. So my Japanese was improving. It's a give and take, but the give, it wasn't even on the same level as the take. So I was like, Then I decided to go back to teaching English. Oh, how I found the job at the hotel was through Craigslist. Actually, I found not Craigslist, through Jesus, what is the thing called? Stop it, Sonny. Stop it. Gaijin Pot. Okay, so I went there to find a job on Aeon Interact and Trunk Hotel. When I switched back to Trunk Hotel, it was a full-time job, so it was still good under my visa. By the way, my visa was for 3 years, so I didn't. If it's for 1 year, when your company will sponsor your visa, and it can be for 1 year, for 2 years, or 3 years. It just depends on what they give you. So the one from Aeon that they gave me was for 3 years. So my visa is still good. So when I switched over to working for Trunk Hotel, it's under the same visa because it's a specialist in humanities. I'm giving a service, not a product. So I could still work at the hotel under that visa. So I went back to working full time, which means I got to enroll back into they sponsored my healthcare, my pension, and everything. All right. So that was for 3 months, and then I decided to go back to teaching English, and I found I didn't want to go back to Eon, but not because of no shade or nothing. It was just like, that time was over. So I decided to go with Interact, or this new company called Rosetta Stone. And again, I wasn't messing around with Interact, because they still, even though I lived in Japan, they still would tell me where I could potentially be placed. And I was not about to, I'm not going to Hokkaido. Like, every time I thought about it, I thought I was going to some country place, and I was, So I decided to go Interact with Rosetta Stone, who has 3 big offices in the Tokyo area. One's in Shinjuku, one's in Ikebukuro, and one is in Ginza. So I went with this company, and it is by far the best company I've worked for in Japan, if not in my life. I did enjoy AT&T when I was back in the States, but Rosetta Stone is a swank little company, and it's not it's a branch of the Rosetta Stone software that we're so familiar with in the States, but it's Rosetta Stone Learning Center, so it teaches both French and English, and I'm on the online team as of now, and I basically teach a lot of online students all day, every day. I have a 4-day contract. It's really flexible. The place is really flexible. The thing about working for Rosetta Stone is because they were a startup company, they didn't have a big training department yet, so they were mostly bringing on teachers who have already had teaching experience in Japan. So it's really lax. It's just an overall good company. So the 4 jobs I've worked in Japan in 2 years are Eon full-time, Eon part-time with the business department, a Japanese company, Trunk Hotel, and now I'm working at Rosetta Stone. And now that I have a flexible schedule, I'm really feeling it. I've put myself in a position to kind of save some money. I am pursuing a career as a personal videographer, so I do that on the side now. I work 4 days a week as an English teacher and 3 days a week as a videographer. I have a lot more equipment. I spent about $1,000 on equipment, so I hope you guys look forward to better videos. I will be making a sister channel. This channel will still be about my life in Japan, but I'll be making a sister channel to showcase some of my work that I'm doing on the side as a videographer. So I hope you guys will enjoy and support that. And a lot of you guys did see my Patreon video, and as of now I only have 2 signups, but 2 is 2. So to those special ladies, I want to say thank you so much for helping support my channel, helping me support grow, and I love you too. Thanks a bunch. And that's it. So you guys have seen my face. I'm back. I don't know how long this video was. Ask me any questions that I didn't cover in the video, like housing. I'm pretty sure you guys are going to ask me about housing, so let me go ahead and say that while I still have time. Eon provided housing. They took about $550 out of your check to stay at their apartment. And if you don't want to stay at their apartment, you got to switch over to part-time, because only full-time people can stay at Eon Apartments. So when I became part-time, I got my own place, which you guys probably saw in my playlist of my big-ass apartment with my roommate, Nick. And then once I stopped working for Eon, I was working at the hotel. I was still staying at that apartment, but now that I work for Rosetta Stone, they don't provide housing, but I've moved into another place which is more affordable on my own. It's gaijin friendly, gaikokujin friendly, foreign friendly, no contracts, none of that. So it's working for now. Yeah, housing. Oh, taxes. Let me tell you guys about taxes, because my friend and I were a little confused about taxes. When you come to Japan, yes, baby, you do pay taxes, and there are 3 major taxes you're going to pay. The first one is your income tax. It's going to come out of your check every month, basically saying this is a tax for working in this country, just like America, okay? Then there's your consumption tax, the tax that you pay when you buy things. So every time you go to the store, it's like 8% or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what it is, but it can't be 8%. I don't know what it is, maybe. But there's consumption tax. Then there's also in Japan something called residence tax. You don't pay it your first year because it's based off of how much you made the previous year. I think it's about 6%. So everyone's always saying, if you stay here for longer than 2 years, be prepared to pay that residence tax. It's based off where you live, and it's about 6% of your previous year's income. So for English teachers, it's about Juniman, about 1,000. It's between $1,000 and $1,500. So a lot of companies will tell you this up front and say, start saving a little bit from each check. If you save $100 from each check, then you'll have about $1,200 for this tax, this residence tax that you're going to get hit with the next year. So those are the 3 major taxes. When you get that big ass bill, and it comes like a bill to your house, basically saying, hey, you owe us about $1,200, $1,300. It's from your residence tax, okay? So don't be shocked. Taxes, housing. Payment. So maybe when you get here, most companies, the bigger companies, will set you up with a Japanese bank account. You're not going to be walking around with your country's bank account. So don't worry about that. You'll get paid direct deposit into that bank account. If you're looking for a credit card, yeah, that ain't gonna happen because Japanese people are very strict about the credit cards they give you. It's all about your name, like credit. You know, in the States you have a credit, and if you did well, like they'll give you credit, you can buy things. Well, you don't have any credit in Japan because you never lived here. So until you build up some credit, and until you build up some livelihood, they're not gonna give you a credit card, all right? You can, some companies like Rakuten, they might give you a credit card, but it's gonna be a small limit. And I think that's about it. Yeah, as far as working, visas and all that, passport. Okay, yeah, we good. All right, I hope this video was useful. It's a lot of rambling. It's a lot of information that is not structured, just off the top of my head, but I did my best as a gift for being away for a while. All right, everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next time. Ciao, matane. Bye-bye.